We do talk. We share tips. And what I tell everybody is you can't read comments. You want to, and you're going to, but you shouldn't, because other people's opinions of you are absolutely none of your business. They don't shape you. They don't make you. They don't create you. You create yourself. And that is like one of the biggest tips. However, not a single girl will listen to it, and then they will realize why. Because I did the same thing. But I also say, like, soak up the time that you have in the public and, traveling and performing, because it is a small, very niche amount of time that you have, especially now with all the franchises of Drag Race we talked about, and with, how much drag there is in the world. It's a little less special on, these current seasons, because it's not just one a year. There's more. So enjoy the time that you have, because the time is fleeting.
That's good advice. Have you ever met anyone, or has anyone ever slipped into your DMs that was like super famous, like a Brad Pitt, or it doesn't have to be someone that famous, where you're just like, you were the last person I expected would be like a Drag Race fan, and they know everything about you or enough about you, or just you've met someone where you're like, wow, this is the last person I would have
Yeah,
ever,
I
yeah.
have, I have had a few weird experiences. I think we mentioned earlier that I'm a big Smash fan. Super excited also. Small caveat that it's coming to Broadway soon. They're workshopping it. Very excited. So if you need somebody to do the show, I'm available. Anyway, I so my exit line on Drag Race was "Let me be your star and don't forget me," which is from Smash. And Catherine McPhee like reached out to me, who played Marilyn Monroe like in the show, but like also her character, and that was like really cool for like someone that I was like, oh, like at the time when the show was there, like that was really important to me. And gosh, whenever you think about it, it's like who else has reached out to me? There's been other people, but whenever somebody does, you're like, oh, that's so funny. Like, I exist. Like, that's weird. But then you go back to thinking too, it's just like, but you're also just a human like me. Like, why am I putting so much emphasis on it? It's weird.
Celebrity and fame is a weird thing. I mean, do you get starstruck? Like, do you have that in you? And is there someone like if you met them or have you where you're just like, oh my God?
Okay, I feel guilty because the answer is I'm not really starstruck much. And I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm supposed to be. But I'm kind of not. But I will say there's one person that I always wanted to see. Like they were like my number one. Like I have to see them before I die. Life will be Gucci. And that was Sarah Bareilles. She is like one of my all-time favorite artists. And then she wrote Waitress, which is one of my favorite shows, and have always been massively obsessed with her. And I got to see her in Into the Woods when she was doing the show when it came back to Broadway this past summer. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm done. I can die peacefully now. Not that I want to, but like I'm ready. Like she's my person. But I would say like I would still like to work personally with her, like on or off stage. That would definitely seal the deal for me. So that we're manifesting that. We're putting that out there in the universe. It's going to happen.
Let's put it out there. Is there a part on Broadway, that like you've played so many? Like, is there something, or off Broadway, like in a touring show? Like, is there just one part that you really want to play?
Oh gosh, there's many. I'll give you the quick list. Roxy Hart in Chicago. Um, I've played Elle Woods, but I would do anything. If here is the petition for Legally Blonde to come back to Broadway as a revival, and I will be sorority girl number 6 in the background, jumping and getting whipped into shape. Like I will be happy for it. I would love to do anything in that show. And gosh, like I've always said too that like I would love to be a crazy wild Fiona and Shrek. Not that I see it coming back to New York anytime soon, but that would be fun. And if the Wicked is an incredibly well-established known show, but when they're ready to see somebody sometime in the universe to play Glinda, I was born out of the womb with a tiara, and I could just bring it to rehearsal. I'm already ready.
I could see this. Have you seen anything that like everyone's talking about Funny Girl? Like, have you seen anything recently, or like, do you want to see anything like when you're in New York for your own show? Like, is something on the top of your list, or have you seen something you just loved recently?
I saw, I think, almost everything that was on a musical that was on Broadway last season. Seen a couple of things that have come this season already. It's been such a shame to hear how so many things have already set closing dates so early on in the season. Such a bummer. But I did see Funny Girl. I saw it 3 times. I saw it with all 3 of the leading ladies, Beanie, Julie, and Leah. So it was really cool to experience all their different Fanny Bryces. I feel like I kind of am a Fanny Bryce in my own regard, because Funny Girl is about not being the stereotypical image for success. And I was like, well, I'm not a cis female and I'm not transgender as well. Like I am this person that is female when I want to be, or when I feel like it, and male at times when I am. And I really relate to the character. Loved seeing the show, and I thought Harvey Firestein's update on the book was so fun, and adding a new song for Ramin Karimloo was like really fun too. I am not going to get the chance to see Almost Famous, because I think it's closing like today, actually. Like it's really soon. But that was something I wanted to see. It was on the list.
Do you have a favorite Fanny out of those 3?
Gosh, how do you ask? They're all so different. Um, I feel like I'm gonna get hate crimed, but my favorite Fanny was Julie Benko. I actually, so I was going to see the show. It was their first week being open, and Beanie Feldstein was still in the show, and it was her first night out. She had like called out for illness or something, and it was Julie Benko's first night actually performing in the show, because she's her standby. So she had done the show in rehearsals, but like never with an audience. And it was really fun, because my friend and I that went to see it saw her with her first audience. And I have not felt that electrifying energy in a theater in such a long time. That's like why I do what I do. It's the energy. And I remember looking at my friend and I was like, this is why I do what I do. I almost, like sometimes you forget. I was like, this is it. And so like that experience was like none other. So it's kind of like, well, how do you compare?
Wow. Anything else you want to cover that I didn't bring up? I like to give people a chance at the end to, and let's talk about before we go to like what people can expect. I mean, just to bring it home, like when they buy tickets or have tickets to see you at the Green Room on February 2nd and 3rd.
Sure. I hope that when people come to see Legally Blair, that they get to experience me on a real, genuine level. Everything out there in the universe is curated. Everything that we say, we're careful of how we say it. We're careful of like how people look at us, the right angles that we have in photos, if it's photoshopped or not. Like what you get on stage is real. And I've made sure that we wrote this show as real as possible, to talk about who I am, struggles I've had, triumphs I've had, things that people that aren't so niche to me, but what can someone else can relate to. And also just talk about the dream of life. This show entitles and encapsulates everything about, we all have dreams. We all want to get somewhere. Sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. But what happens if they don't? Are we going to be okay? Are we going to, how do we navigate? How do we react? And Ben and Eric have worked so diligently with me to help make sure that like I feel seen, my voice is heard, that everything that I feel is important about who I am and like the things that I want to share are there. And it mainly is breaking down the construct of gender and